Hello, this is a short narrated PowerPoint presentation, an introduction to one of two papers arising from a study of energy and transport poverty in Iceland. I'm Paul Upham, my colleague Chukwuka Manyai also participated, and Benjamin Sovacool is PI of the project. So the concept of just transitions holds that socio-technical change should not be achieved at the expense of vulnerable groups. And in this project, we are looking at the interrelationship of transport and energy poverty. Researchers have increasingly found that the two should be addressed together and that they cannot be successfully addressed as discrete policy domains. Although Iceland has a low degree of income inequality in OECD terms, some 5% of the population are classed as materially deprived. That's about 17,000 people. We provide summary statistics on this, and we discuss the lived experience of transport and energy poverty and the policy implications for energy transitions in Iceland and elsewhere. In particular, we provide descriptive statistics on energy and transport poverty in the country, representative focus group opinion, and experience of energy and transport, and interviews with people who have experience of energy and/or transport poverty, all in Iceland. We set this in the context of Iceland's climate action plan, its energy system, and its associated GHG emissions. Also in terms of Iceland's poverty, inequality, social welfare system, and cost of living. Since World War II, Iceland did become, it is said, the world's most egalitarian modern democracy since gaining its independence. However, these trends have changed, and the top 10% of income earners in Iceland now earn almost 9.5 times more than the poorest decile. At the same time, it's important to say that Iceland's poverty rate is good, in inverted commas, compared to other OECD countries. Iceland is on the extreme left of this graph, and you can see the other countries if you have a look. Iceland has a relatively car-dependent transport network, with a bus system that the users we questioned find to be limited. Most of the population of Iceland is concentrated in a small number of urban areas located around an inner coastal ring road. This is suburban Iceland, and Iceland has nondescript sprawl, the same as many other developed countries. It also has smaller settlements, and here is Vik as you run round the ring road towards the east. With a rugged landscape and vehicles to match, despite the majority of primary energy supply being renewable, a stubborn 20% or so of energy supply remains fossil-fueled. These are typical shots from the ring road of Iceland. Fossil-fueled. So what we did was organize focus groups, online focus groups because of COVID, with a small number of people. Again, undertake a small number of semi-structured interviews, mostly with people, all of whom had transport and energy poverty related issues, but not all of whom would describe themselves as poor. The majority would, however. And we also inspected Statistics Iceland databases, those that are publicly available. With regard to the latter, we find those who are likely to experience both energy and transport poverty are low-income households, single parents with children, those who are classed as immigrants, which is those who were born abroad, who have parents born abroad and grandparents born abroad, and those with people with health and/or mobility difficulties. And it's that latter category that comprised the majority of our interviewees. We draw a number of policy inferences from our study, which is still at the time of speaking being peer-reviewed and written up. So we think that several policy areas need attention in Iceland in relation to energy and transport poverty. And we also emphasise that Iceland is by far from being alone in these. Iceland is not the only country to have these problems. We also think that the study illustrates how energy and transport poverty in a largely decarbonised energy system cannot be addressed in policy isolation. That is, a wide range of other policies need to also be addressed. These include state protection or welfare benefits policy. This was experienced by our interviewees as being punitive and keeping them in poverty traps. Public transport provision, which was experienced as overpriced and inadequate in terms of frequency, routes, and provision for disabled passengers. We provide a lot of detail on this in our study. Public housing supply, because rent consumes a large proportion of people's income, and public housing supply is subsidised, the volume of this was experienced as inadequate, i.e. it was difficult to obtain. By contrast, commercial rent prices are high and are experienced as exploitative. Electric power disconnection policy and the associated use of debt collectors. So a very small number of people are disconnected annually until they have arranged loans, which place them further in debt. This policy also needs examination. And a wide range of other policies, such as the role of credit history in access to further education and training. So some of our interviewees said that they couldn't get access to further education, which would help them progress socially, because of their past credit history, so they find themselves locked in. And that's the end of this overview of our study. It's funded by the Just North Research Programme, and we would like to particularly thank Loife Olafsdóttir of the Iceland branch of the European Anti-Poverty Network for helping us with access to interviewees. Many thanks.